Hello ladies and gentlemen of the internet, I am Jack of all trades, here with my 500 subscriber special. It's not going to be very much. I had said I'd have my new intro ready for this video. I do not. I've pulled a few all-nighters this week trying to get everything finished animation-wise, but I've still got some backgrounds to finish off. I'll show some of the work I'm doing currently on the screen as I am talking right now. I will upload that as soon as it is finished, whatever day of the week that may be. But for this video itself, I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel up to this point. At the time of recording, we're at 554, and this is meant to be my 500 video, let alone 554. So I'm going to go through my list of subscribers. I can only see those who has their subscription set to public, so if your subscriptions are set to private, I can't see them. That said, I'm going to go through my list and individually thank everyone who has subscribed to me, who has their subscription set to public, allowing me to see it. English is my first language, so I am undoubtedly going to butcher some of these names. I apologize. Thank you, Mifla. Thank you, JC. Thank you, Time. Thank you, Tab the Apex. Thank you, Video King Az. Thank you, Gustav San. Thank you, Juque. Thank you, One Track Mind. Thank you, Pillow Wings. Thank you, The Obi Kobe HD. Thank you, Waifu Butter. Thank you, Scotsmeyer. Thank you, Kenneth Feliquez. Thank you, Skyla Dash. Thank you, Pikachu Girl 123. Thank you, Kindred Spirits AMV. Thank you, Nature and Cooking. Thank you, Anthony Fox. Thank you, Sad Lobster 1. Thank you, Slicer Damage 96. Thank you, Sawyer Iku Fan. Thank you, I'm One of Them. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Nova Ruby. Thank you, Crisp Bro. Thank you, Tough Fan. Thank you, Pablo Herman Renaizo Inzuralde. Thank you, Coblete 9 Sansanawate. Thank you, Shulking Boy. Thank you, Juliana de Guzman. Thank you, Kenzar. Thank you, Super Meme Verse. Thank you, Lumberjack King the Great. Thank you, Utsi. Thank you, Jank. Thank you, Gadget Guy 28. Thank you, Victor Suki. Thank you, Fortnite Fan 89. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Moo Moo Channel. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Lord Dementel. Thank you, Shadow Plays. Thank you, Ali Manning. Thank you, Shumsta. Thank you, Trophone. Thank you, CJ Morton. Thank you, Bree Madril Mander. Thank you, Peteri Rantala. Thank you, Tomi Memura. Thank you, T Shadows Wild. Thank you, Hal Cromwell. Thank you, Ian O'Bourbon. Thank you, Jack Schaefer. Thank you, Flawless Beats. Thank you, That One Otaku. Thank you, Finn the Human. Thank you, D'Angelo Yass. Thank you, Paris Hardy. Thank you, N Reynolds. Thank you, Okami 1001. Thank you, S Roller. Thank you, You Just Got Sarged. Thank you, Borkington III. Thank you, Tyler Marshall. Thank you, Templar of Steel 88. Thank you, Yasser Montasser. Thank you, Sim. Thank you, Psycho Gamer UK. Thank you, Carlos Alberto. Thank you, Humanza V. Thank you, Pablo360able. Thank you, Bear Hair. Thank you, Choi Lobo. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Ahmed Rafta. Thank you, Itzalba. Thank you, Luis Angel. Thank you, Lord Telperian. Thank you, Shilkmaster17. Thank you, Ada Zovala. Thank you, Rin Mimi. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Cala Cruz. Thank you, A Plays Roblox. Thank you, Peyton Williams. Thank you, Fetter Ackerman. Thank you, Isaiah Young. Thank you, Alberto Soroidia. Thank you, Colston Marine Stuvalt. Thank you, Bretts. Thank you, Yashimura61894. Thank you, Ma Da Fung. Thank you, Diana Anchudina. Thank you, Miller G. Thank you, Strewn Black. Thank you, Squidly Kraken. Thank you, Pink Candy. Thank you, Zero I Night Zero. Thank you, Quinn Deccan. Thank you, Atten G. Thank you, The Amber Fang. Thank you, The Shadow 20012. Thank you, Abafeta Albia. Thank you, Papillon Rouge. Thank you, Leonardo Gnomes. Thank you, Bill Dieter Rich. Thank you, JP Abragino. Thank you, ST. Thank you, Ty Murray. Thank you, Ash Milk. Thank you, Stark. Thank you, Louis Origidale. Thank you, Anna S. Thank you, Pajaki Master. Thank you, Brandon Norton. Thank you, Jose Miguel Vagra Savira. Thank you, Evelyn Bayonetic. Thank you, Tarek Alzabera. Thank you, Pesha Doctora 2. Thank you, JJ Vincent. Thank you, Bruno Rufino. Thank you, Lucy Harwood. Thank you, Mosuku Sheridan. Thank you, E Go no Umi. Thank you, Jose Mota. Thank you, I Love the Way You Smile. Thank you, Zytavius Meadows. Thank you, Daniel Felipe Taffer Gomez. Thank you, Calvin Rohan. Thank you, Nicholas Enns. Thank you, Marcos Henrique. Thank you, DanCam1796. Thank you, Brian Dela Cruz. Thank you, Vanicus Manini. Thank you, Jabrin Masco. Thank you, Woody NG. Thank you, Jonathan Damian. Thank you, MC Julius Bruce. Thank you, Minoru Mineta. Thank you, Krouska Santos. Thank you, EJ Go. Thank you, Sam Ralev. Thank you, Valkav Rokuski. Thank you, Bagcat. Thank you, Amoeba. Thank you, Night Hunter. Thank you, Masinge Pride. Thank you, Armando Benitze Molina. Thank you, Wada Akihiro. Thank you, Taylor McMahon. Thank you, Martin Wavnik. Thank you, Yiting Jiwang Yihui. Thank you Nas Wasser. Thank you Maka Lucky. Thank you Zentex Lord. Thank you Celestine Show. Thank you Cindy Boo. Thank you Victor Cervantes. Thank you Emerson Macaldo. Thank you Vortex Max. Thank you Junaid Kayani. Thank you Molly Davidson. Thank you Dominic Toretto. Thank you Nicholas Ajabumi. Thank you Hoang Ming Fong. Thank you Worldwide Rao. Thank you Nopakun Manichod. Thank you Robin Courtier. Thank you Sirianis LeBlanc. Thank you Antonio Antunes. Thank you Alan Samachen. Thank you Lauren McIntosh. Thank you Li Yi Shu. Thank you Quack Bao Nguyen. And to cap this off, because this was meant to be my 500 subscriber special, thank you to my 500th subscriber several months ago, Eric Newman. Thank you very much. Big thank you to everyone I just mentioned. So sorry if I pronounced your names wrong. Thank you to everyone I didn't name here, everyone who's been subscribed this entire time for the past 6 years or so. If you're not subscribed, but for some reason you chose to watch this long, ring the notification bell, and later this week, I will finally have the new opening, the new channel opening animation finished and uploaded. We're almost there. Until next time, I've been Jack of all trades. Bye.